Hello and welcome to the Last Word on Spurs. We do hope you're keeping very safe and well. Thank you so much for joining us during yet another Europa Conference League night, but not like any Europa Conference League night. It's a very special night. It's Antonio Conte's first game in charge at Tottenham that ends with a win. Delighted to have back alongside me. I've got Jason McGovern, Mr. Richard Cracknell, live and direct from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium himself, and the great Frankie Major on the show. If you're listening to the show for the very first time, you can find us on iTunes, on Spotify, and Audio Boom. We're across a range of different social platforms. We're, of course, on Twitter at Last Word On Spurs. We're on Facebook and Instagram too. And Spurs are up and running under Antonio Conte. Before I do start, I just want to make a couple of announcements. Number one, we've got the great Fabrizio Romano joining us on the show tomorrow, which you can see Jason already is self-containing himself with excitement to come. And we're also pleased, in talking about signings, we've got one obviously in terms of the manager, but also pleased to actually now officially announce Frankie Major as part of the Last Word on Spurs. Frank will be on numerous times this season. Lovely to have Frank with us again tonight. It's a great to have Frank part of the team. But we are going to start, Frank. Let's actually start with you. Antonio Conte is up and running. Spurs were 3-2 win against Vitesse. Under plenty of pressure in that second half, but remain calm and strong for the 3 points. Crazy game for Conte, but really that was all about the Conference League. What did you make of that win tonight at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
Well, thanks for having me as always, Rick, and thanks for letting me be part of the team. I'd like to say first, I love the team at Last Word on Spurs and talking all things Spurs. So brilliant stuff. Thank you, mate. And yeah, a win's a win. I think the general consensus, if you look on social media in the comments, is he's probably seen everything he could see in 90 minutes of where this squad is at the moment. I mean, the brilliance, I thought we started well. Some great patterns of play. We looked to have a good shape to begin with, the first 20 minutes or so, or sort of half an hour. And he also saw how self-destructive we could be. Defensively, individual errors and set pieces again have been undoing us for the best part of 3 years. And Rick, you always put a tweet out every now and again about the percentage of goals that we concede from set pieces or individual errors. Now, for the last 3 to 4 years, it has been the staple of playing against us. You will get something out of certain individuals in this team. And I don't think it would take Conte long to work that out. But the positives are goals, entertainment, 5 goals, 3 red cards, bit of a crazy game. I know Conte wouldn't have liked it. He said in his post-match comments that not the sort of game that he liked. But after just watching complete flat dross for the last sort of spell of games under Nuno, it was nice to be excited again. And I'll take the win. We know we're going to improve. He's had 2 sessions with the team, but it's nice to be entertained again and score goals.
Oh, man. It's almost like you said there, Frank. It's almost chalk and cheese the way we started that game in comparison to other games we've had previously under Nuno. Jace, let's come to you. Antonio Conte's reign at Spurs gets underway in the most Tottenham way possible. A win, but in absolute chaos. A fun game, defending pretty well actually with 10 men, but nice to see a manager make changes to try and improve things and also change and tweak a formation. What did you make of the win at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium? We need to unmute Jason. This doesn't happen that often, of course, with Jace trying to shut him up. In you come, Jason, when you're ready.
My mind went back 2 years, mate, to Jose's first game where Sonny put us 1-0 up and Lucas Moura put us 2-0 up and Kane put us 3-0 up, and then we conceded twice in a crazy game that day. So, talk about deja vu. But, that's what, when I talk about style and why I bang on about style, you don't get a trophy today, but people have left that stadium tonight, can't wait to go to the next game. That is what I mean by a style. I don't care if it's a crazy game and goes 3-2. It was edgy your bum seat, totally absorbing, could have gone either way, crazy things going on, goals galore, good football, bad football. That is what your money got you. Total value for money tonight, and that is why the style of football is so important, to make you leave that stadium entertained and want to go back next week. And my God, does everyone want to go back next week?
Oh, man, I totally agree to that, Jace. It's funny because we talk a lot about the style and about playing a certain brand of football, but ultimately, a game like in chaos, That is Tottenham as a club, where we are right now as fans. It's just, and listen, it was chaotic, and I think Conte in one way maybe perversely enjoyed that. We are going to come on to Conte's comments after the game, but let's go to Richard Cracknell, live and direct from the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We might have some background noise here just to give you a heads up, because Rich is on a train boarding towards home. Rich, a performance that dazzled at times, was pure comedy in other points, and all above some prime city entertainment for Conte to chew over. But it was 3 crucial Europa Conference League points that make Spurs climb above Vitesse into Group G. What did you make of that performance, Rich? Live and direct.
No, well, listen, I'm on a train. Evening, everyone, by the way. I'm on a train coming from the stadium. Flew 2,000 miles today, 4 hours. And it was worth every minute and every inch of the journey. It was bananas.
This man's commitment.
Bananas. He had everything. He had everything over there tonight. It was a game that we loved and Conte would have absolutely hated.
I totally agree. No, after the game, when we see his comments, he didn't like it at all. Frank, you know what's funny? It was a great start, and it was actually a reminder of how devastating Spurs could actually be when they attack. But soon came the stark reminder, Frank, you know, the need for maybe additions in January, how Spurs defend so poorly, and why maybe we've seen Mourinho and Nuno put the caution first in terms of defence over attack. But all in all, it was a great atmosphere and a realisation for Spurs' world-class coach Antonio Conte. There's a lot of work to do here, Frank, isn't there, for him to get his squad into?
Recruitment is paramount. Like most clubs will tell you in football, you're only as good as your players. Obviously, a good coach makes a difference, obviously, but you need personnel. And I think tonight showed, again, the glimpses of how devastating we can be on the offence. I like the fact that he pushed both wing-backs high and wide up in the same line as the 3 that he played in the front, Kane, Lucas and Son. And there were positive parts of the game, particularly in the early part, to take from it moving forward. However, we need players. We've known this for a while. Conte is a world-class manager, but he's not a magician. He's not going to change the DNA of a lot of these players overnight. He might get a little bit more out of them, but we all know, us Spurs fans who follow this club religiously and watch every single game, we know the weak links, we know who needs to go, and we just need to trust that obviously Paratici and Conte can find the right personnel to bring in. I think the glaring weak spot for me tonight was obviously we do need another centre-back. I think we all know that. At least one, if he's going to play 3 at the back. But, I mean, Eric Dier, I'm sorry, from that set piece, that is just poor. You know, feet in the mud, not anticipating the jump.
Quite literally.
And I hate to dig Eric Dier out, but every time he has a good game, he still costs you a goal. And I don't think in the longer term we could put up with a player like that in this team. And unfortunately tonight I was not impressed at all with the 2 centre mids. I know with the 3 at the back, he likes to play with the wing backs going on. He likes 2 holding mids to almost form a block, a narrow block, so you're not susceptible for the counter attack when we're moving forward. But I think we're going to need more than Højbjerg and Skip as a midfield pairing in a 3-4-3 if that's how we're going to play. And January is only, I think, Michael Bridge. I think it was 58 days till January or something like that. 38 days. Sorry.
We're counting down the minutes here, Frank. We're
counting down the days until January because we do need 3 additions really. If we're going to be serious about from January onwards or now onwards, if we're going to try and rattle that cage of the top 4 at the very least, we need signings. And obviously they need more time on the training ground with Conte.
Agree. Now, on the screen there, Tim Mann says, our midfield was awful today. Can't see Skip and Højbjerg starting next season. Not good enough. Massive area to improve. Let's take some of your questions, your statements after the game. Nikki at Highland Spurs says, it's a start. Better going forward. Better link up, more determination, fight shown second half. Defence needs work, but we knew that anyway. Sam Lewis says, crazy game. I think for sure Conte saw the good and the bad from us this evening. Hopefully this can be the start of something good. What a crazy game though. 5 first half goals and 3 reds in the second half. Face with tears of joy. Kyle Calderelli says, that was a blessing in disguise. It will let Conte know exactly what needs to be tweaked and positions he'll need for January and the summer. And we'll learn more than what we would have done if we would have won 3 or 4-0 tonight. Daniel Green says, really impressed with the changing style already, but we should all have known no real changes will happen until Conte gets his own players in. These players are simply not good enough. Davies, Dier, Moura, etc. Chris at Wale Man says, 22, happy overall. I'm taking it into account they've literally had one training session with Conte and been employed a brand new shape and tactics. We still need more energy in the press, but that will come. Showed heart, grinding out a much needed win. Jace, this is from Michael. Let's actually go to Crackers actually on this one. Crackers, this is from Michael Bennett, who says, what is the main thing Conte would have learned from that performance tonight against Vitesse?
I think he's gone.
What, mentally or physically or both?
He's probably gone through a tunnel or something.
I wish we had. Jace, let's come to you on that one. Michael Bennett, what is the main thing Conte would have learned from that performance tonight?
That we need to improve defensively, that's for sure. But you know, there's lots of flack for Dier and Davies tonight, and yet I'm sitting here thinking I'm pretty certain it was Romero that got sent off with an absolutely ridiculous challenge. He was the one that almost cost us the game. He was the one that put us on the back foot by reducing us to 10 men. So, you know, you can never go at Eric Dier for getting caught flat-footed, but, you know, at least he stayed on the pitch rather than getting himself sent off. But then, you know, you can't attack Romero at the moment. You know, it was just, I think it was a perfect game for Conte because he saw how good we can be and he saw how chaotic we can be. And that's the best thing. But when people are having a go at, you know, in midfield, we've all got reservations about Højbjerg and Skip, but let's at least give Conte more than 2 training sessions to try and work on how it should be. And let's get to January first. We've got how many games between now and January? What is it? 13, 14 games?
Yes, and not games, indeed.
So let's see where a partnership of Højbjerg and Skip is then. Let's see where you know, I mean, Davies and Sanchez came on, got his head kicked in, and we still looked an excellent defender tonight. So, you know, let's give Conte a little bit of time before we go into trying to sign 25 players in January. Let's give him a chance to work with this lot. Yeah, I mean, Harry Winks is a prime example. You know, everyone wants him sold, but he actually had 15, 20 minutes tonight where Harry Winks looks a midfield player again. So let's just give it a little bit of time before we jump to conclusions on every single player in the squad, because there will be deadwood in that squad that will become good, and there'll be 1 or 2 current loved ones that will become deadwood. So let's just let time play itself out until January.
That's a fair point. Maria on the screen says, today's emotions, excitement, joy, disappointment, worry, stress, and glad it was all over. What a game, Maria. We echo those thoughts there. Let's come over to Senor Cracknell, who is, currently still on a train on his way back home. I say home, I say he left his home about 24 hours ago, no, Rich? Rich, question here for you. This is from Slick Dog 80, who says, why are we so bad at defending set pieces? This is a massive area for improvement for me. Cutting these mistakes out would be a very good start, as any team will fancy their chances if they can get it in the mixer. How do we improve that defence, Rich, for you?
Oh, well, it's train, more training, more training, more set pieces, more training, and then guess what, Rick? More training. You've just got to keep doing it until it becomes muscle memory.
Yeah. I think we got the last bit of muscle memory. We got it, Cracknell. We got it, Rich. We're gonna have to bring Rich back in. It's going to be one of those shows. I tell you what.
Just to elaborate, just to jump in there.
Go on, Frank.
Where Crackers was saying about train. The same players have been coached by Nuno, Jose, and not Conte yet. But Jose is not an idiot. I know he didn't really fit at Spurs, and it wasn't the greatest tenure of his career. But these same players have been conceding from set pieces under coaches who know how to set up against set pieces. And obviously we do work and training on defending set pieces, and they're still making the same mistakes. So I understand that the coaching is going to need to improve, particularly in defending set pieces, but I also think we need new personnel at the back. I take on board what Jason says. Obviously allow Conte to have a look at everyone, and I trust Conte. Again, if there are players that I don't like that he wants to play, I will trust him because he's a world-class coach. But we need defensive recruitment. It's not really going to change too much, in my opinion, unless we get a couple of his own players in. It's been going on for 3-4 years now, Rick. You know, this individual wearers, set pieces. So I think it's going to be a little bit more than just hard work on the training ground, personally.
No, that's fair. That's absolutely fair. Let's get into the teams ahead of the game, because Antonio Conte named for the first time ever his Spurs starting 11 ahead of the game, having only taken the job just the 2 days before. And it was straight down to business for him. It was quite ironic, actually. We saw an immediate change to the Spurs warm-up. Extremely intense and lively possession game. Conte's staff onto every player demanding more and giving instructions, full of passion and enthusiasm from the players down to the coach, which was great to see. It did appear that Spurs would operate with a three at the back system consisting of Christian Romero, Eric Dier, Ben Davies, with Sergio Reguilon and Romeo Emerson Royale utilised as wing-backs. Harry Kane and Humminson starting the attack for Spurs alongside Lucas Moura, with the likes of Ndombele, Lo Celso, Dele and Bergwijn starting from the bench. And as always, let's come round to you on this, Jace. Humminson, who always seems to score goals of the new eras. He's done it he's done it for Mourinho. He's done it for Espirito Santo. He's now done it for Antonio Conte. And I say, great finish from Son, and exactly the start Antonio Conte would have wanted. Like I say, straight into that game. What did you make of it?
Well, he should have put us 1-0 up even earlier than that, shouldn't he? In the second minute, when he went round the keeper and got onto that ball, and had he timed his run a fraction better, he'd have been through 1-on-1 to make it. Would have been at 4-0, I think, at that stage as well. So, we know what Sonny is. He'll enjoy playing in this system. He'll get on the ball. He'll be able to make his runs, and we'll see a much better Sonny than we've seen this season. So I've no worries about Sonny whatsoever.
Frank, just on Son, general, like I say, he had a chance, as Jason said there, with just over a minute on the clock, but it was cleared off the line before giving Spurs the lead not long after. It did work well in that front three, but couldn't make the same impact after the break with Vitesse dominating. Is Son at the top of his game right now, Frank, or is there a little bit of a drop-off there in terms of maybe fitness that we need to get back into his system? Because ultimately, you do feel with Son now that he's carrying a lot on his shoulders. He's almost become now, as Kane was, the main man for Tottenham. And although Kane, we want to see him get back firing, Son, for me as a fan now, does feel the fans' favourite. Do you see where I'm coming from on that?
Of course, because of obviously what happened with the Harry Kane scenario over the summer, and Son signing a new deal and showing total commitment. Obviously, there's been a bit of a shift of the face of Spurs, in my opinion, and the opinion of many. But no, I totally agree about the fitness issues. To have the lowest running stats in the league. This is a game of sprints football. It is. Whatever anyone says, it's a game of sprints. If you cannot sprint, or you're not putting any effort to run, then you're not going to win football matches. So the one thing we know, we're getting with Conte, apparently 3 of the coaches he's brought with him are free fitness coaches, Italian fitness coaches. And I've heard stories about diets down to snacks. There'll be no sort of any semi-comfort food at all in the training ground or in the stadium. It'll be nuts and seeds, for your snacks. So I think the fitness levels and the health and the science behind that will go at absolute levels under Conte. I don't know what Nuno was doing on the training ground. We know that obviously Jose used to sort of let them get on with the fitness themselves. And that is, we were known under Pochettino for being one of the hardest running team in the league. To then go to the worst running team in the league, it's been incredible, really, embarrassing. So I'm expecting Son and all of our other star men, I'm expecting their levels to go up. And Son's been brilliant this season as well. He's been our go-to guy and our main man. He's our top scorer so far. So which I'm expecting, if he can go up another couple of gears and levels in his fitness and quality, then we're just getting an even better Son. And that is just incredible for Spurs.
Totally agree with that.
I think a word of caution that we will probably concede late goals in the first, few months of Conte, because Frank's right. You can't go from 20th to 1st on those running stats without it showing. So I think they put in so much effort in those first 30 minutes, press, that came second half, and particularly then we went down to 10 men. The old legs, the mind was willing to go, but the legs certainly wasn't. And it will take time for that fitness levels to really get up. So don't be surprised if we ship late goals for the first couple of months, that's for sure.
Let's come around to Rich on that. Rich, for you, Son's overall performance, what did you make of it?
Rich.
We can hear you, Rich. We can hear
let
you.
me just jump in on the point that Frank made there. Listen, he said that Conte's going to put nuts and seeds into the training ground. Have you got me? You still got me?
We've still got you just about. I've got you just as much as Eric Dier defending. That's how much I've got you.
The only word I
I'd
can hear
put in that training ground and in the camp. I'd put donuts, I'd put chips, I'd put burgers in, I'd put ice cream in, I'd put the whole lot in. I'd just let them help themselves. And those that help themselves, see you later. And those that don't, you can stay. So put temptation in their way. Let's see how professional and how serious they are. Tell them they can have what they want. All right, and if they want it, that's the food, they can have it. And if they don't want it, then they can stay. Simple as that. Just do that.
Wasn't it Pochettino that in his book that said he picks a player for one game based on how quick he ate his dinner? Do you remember that?
I think
was it Manchester City away, and he wasn't sure which player to pick, and he said, I chose him because he ate his dinner slower or something than the other one.
I think you're right. I do think you're right on that.
Yeah.
John, at the moment with Spurs, listen, maybe there is a need to maybe change the regime up a little bit. But do you know what? We did have a flying start. Spurs going 2-0 up, and it was a lovely goal from Tottenham. Lucas to Kane, who brilliantly hold off his man, rolled the ball back to the Brazilian, and Lucas pretty clear to finish 1v1 versus the goalkeeper. And to be fair, we were pairing at this point. Listen, we can go back to Rich because we're going to try and get some more time from Rich if we can as he's balls his training session. Rich, it was a sumptuous Kane assist as well, along with a composed finish from Moura. And it was a great first 20 minutes or so from Spurs and Conte, and we were flying. I mean, what was it like in that stadium? The roof must have been coming off, right? I tell you what, we're going to... Do you know what's a shame here? Do you know what's funny with this show? We get so many people that listen to us on an audio version. They're going to be in absolute hysterics thinking, what is going on every time we go live to Richard? But we will go back to Richard in a second. We will go back to him. Frank, Spurs' start for 2-0. The way we come out the blocks with such intensity, with such desire, passion, determination, would that have given Conte hope that, the players are already starting to buy into his message, although we know there's a real need to defend that we're going to come on to shortly?
Of course, the intent was there, purpose, getting the ball forward. As I said, I like the shape. I like both wing backs coming as high as the front three, and it looked like we were going to absolutely steamroll with them. But as Jason said, I think that where we've been bottom of the running stats for so long, it is going to take us a while to get up to speed. It is, and you could see that. I mean, these are professional footballers, and the issue has obviously been running, and you could see just before half time we looked absolutely knackered. Which obviously has to be addressed and will be addressed. Oh, here he comes.
I keep jumping in and out of the show, though. That's the only problem because of the 4G.
You can imagine that was something nuts.
Crackers, are you there, mate?
The beaming smile there of Crackers. I mean, Frank, please carry on.
Beaming, stuttery smile. But no, I was going to say, obviously, that is one of the main issues in this squad, is getting them all up to speed and fully running fit for the Conte style of football. But yeah, it was a fantastic start. I've said to you before, Rick, my most frustrating player at this football club is Lucas Moura, because tonight you saw all of Lucas, didn't you? You saw the goal, some positives, then you saw some of the worst passing you'll ever see. Just complete mishmash, running in blind alleys. He's brilliant one moment, so inconsistent, so up and down, but again, he does contribute more than many others in the squad. He does, Lucas. And you can never, ever doubt his desire and work ethic. But it was positive to get off to that start. You can tell, obviously, there's been a massive shift from what they were doing under Nuno to Conte, who they're working for now. The levels will naturally go up.
Would you must say, Frank, do you not think that's really impressive how quick as well? Bearing in mind he's only had one full training session with them. Have you been impressed by how quickly already there has been a slight change in style by how he started that game?
Well, I don't think you can read too much into it because he only has had two sessions. So it's more his presence and his aura and his reputation and who he is that has got that performance out of them rather than what he's done on the training ground. And it just, again, goes to show that those players were not playing for Nuno. And it happens. You see this at football clubs just before one manager leaves and just after a new manager comes in. You can tell whether the players are playing for that manager. And the difference in levels tonight at the start of that game, that first 20 minutes of absolutely everything you want from a football team was frightening compared to what we've been watching recently.
Totally agree.
Sometimes I don't think it's a case of playing for a manager. It's belief in what you're being told to do. you know, when they talk about lose the dressing room or they don't play for a manager, it's not that I think they think, oh God, I can't wait for him to be sacked, so I'm not going to do this, not going to do that. It's just they don't have any belief or confidence in what they're being told to do, and that affects your decision making and it affects the tempo in your game and everything. You know, as I've said it before, it's their job, and we all know if you equate it to our jobs, if you've got a boss you don't respect, you know, no matter how much you go into work and try and do your job, it does affect your performance. Not deliberately so, but it affects how you perform. It affects your ability to make decisions because you're thinking, oh, he doesn't really want me to do that. And I think that's the thing. It's not that they deliberately don't try for a manager.
Our players particularly, focusing on Spurs, weren't buying into Nuno's tactics. The fans weren't. We were sitting there absolutely bored, passing it sideways, no purpose, no intent. It was too slow. And you're totally right, Jace. But I also think when a manager of a reputation or with the reputation of the Conte comes in, regardless of that, you get a higher level out of the players. Because as you say, his proof is in the pudding. He's a proven winner. He's done it recently, and they'll buy into what he's doing because of who he is. And if we could get that reaction, which we got for the first 20 to 30 minutes in this first game, 3-4 months down the line, when he's had time to coach his system, I'm very positive about what could become under Conte. I know it's one game.
Yeah, totally agree. No, you're right.
Huge difference.
You're spot on. I'd say the reason I say we're looking down at the moment is we're just waiting for some quotes to pull through from Antonio Conte, and we're going to share them with you. Let's go back round to Senor Crackers, who is now located the train station, where we're hoping from an audio perspective you're able to hear the dulcet tones of the man himself, who's come all the way over to the UK. Big beaming smile there and frozen. So we're going to hold off on going back to Richard. So this. Oh no, he's back. Hold on, he's back again now. Let's see if we can get hold of Rick. No, he's gone again. Is he here? No, he's not. Oh, he's here. Hold on.
He's defending a set piece now.
I tell you what, he's Eric Dier all over this tonight, isn't he? He can't mark a man. He's gone again. Let's go back round to you, Jace, actually, on this. You know, we mentioned Lucas linking up well as part of the front three, was unlucky not to score a second before Son actually found the net. Didn't take him long to get on the score sheet. However, some poor play from him did allow Vitesse to score a second as his sloppy pass was seized upon. But before that, it was officially down as an own goal after Davies and Kane scuffed shots in the box. It was a real messy third goal. I know Spurs announced it as a Kane goal. It wasn't a Kane goal. But how impressed was you with the way Spurs were really ruthless in that first half in terms of taking their chances?
Yeah, like I said, other than that first one in the second minute, I think we actually only had, at that stage, we'd had 3 shots on target and scored with all 3. And then, you know, just to balance it out for Nuno, we then went 62 minutes without a shot on target. But we'll keep quiet about that one tonight. No, you know, the ruthlessness, that's what you've got to be. You've got to take those chances. And the third one's an own goal. But, you know, it was, I couldn't quite believe how Ben Davies was in there, you know, charging forward like that from centre-back. And it was a bit of a scuffed pass of Ben Davies. But, you know, it's just good to see. Good to see a player in that position. And just after that, I think there was a Emerson Royal cross that Reguilon just couldn't turn, just couldn't reach. And I think that's what I like to see, when one fullback crosses and the other fullback's on the end of it. And that's how I want Tottenham to play.
Yeah, totally agree with that. Now, Richard is located in a car. So this is going mad. We've had the train, we've then had the station. We're now in a car, and we can now hear him just about.
Will we get him on the plane, Rick?
We'd have more luck if he was in space, I tell you.
I'll tell you what, he's better connection when he's in Spain. Rich, let's cross back over to you, Rich, because you know, we did see Vitesse get back into the game, having just scored an own goal. Rasmussen up the other end made it a goal back from a corner. Does it concern you, Rich, just how poor Spurs are defending set pieces?
Oh, Rick, it's just like, it's set pieces, like I said to you before, set pieces, free kicks, corners. It's just our Achilles heel, isn't it? So, like I said, I tried to say about 10 minutes ago, we've got to train. And then if they can't do it, then, like, listen, we've just got to get new personnel in, but can do it. It's as simple as that. So, and listen, Conte's going to be the man who's going to be absolutely ruthless enough to do that. He's going to give people a chance, and he's going to train them. And if they still don't get it, they're out the door, and that's exactly what this team is crying out for.
Yeah, no, I do agree on that point, and this is something we talk about in terms of Spurs defensively. You know, I think Conte knows just based on that game alone, there is a lot of work to do, and if you didn't know before, he certainly does know now. Jace, let's come back round to you because, like I say, that defender making amends moments after scoring his own goal, and it came from Lloris actually making a stunning fingertip save from Tronstrad's brilliant long-range effort. And then we see him, like I say, get back into the game 3-2. Barrow rolling home a really cool finish after Lucas lost possession game on. How concerning was that, the nature of how we conceded those goals so quickly? That would really be concerning for Conte, wouldn't it, in terms of the fixture schedules that we've got and how little time there is to work with the players between the games coming up?
Well, of course it will, but, you know, set pieces we know we've got a weakness with, so we'll address that. And then the second is a sloppy pass to start it off with. But, you know, Hugo actually made 3 or 4 top saves tonight. And, I mean, Vitesse gave us all sorts of problems, didn't they? I think they've had twice as many shots as we have all night long. I was really impressed with Vitesse for a lot of that game. The way they responded, they didn't drop their heads and that. So fair play to them. But, of course, Conte knows he's got work to do. But, you know, over the next couple of days, he'll get stuff. And, you know, fortunate. I mean, if we'd have played Liverpool tonight, we'd have been in serious trouble, that's for sure. But you know, when you've got some of the games that we've got coming up with Everton's and Burnley's and that, I think that there's time on that training pitch to work it, and we'll see where we are, mate. Like I say, let's get to January and see where we are then. But I'm sure he'll improve us defensively. That's for sure. He'll have time to try different defenders. He'll have time to try different midfield players out and different. You know, the different balance between the 2 central midfielders, and let's give him time to work before we jump to conclusions on one night.
Totally agree. Frank, let's take a question from our listeners. This one is for you. This is coming from, let's go to Kurt Butler, who says, at CurtyBoy89, how much, Frank, does it surprise you that in terms of our fitness, we've fallen off the pace? Is that still a massive issue for you in just terms of generally from Spurs? Under Pochettino, we were such a good team in terms of fitness. We'd last at 80, 90 minutes. If you saw a lot of Spurs' goals, they'd all come in the last 10 minutes of games to win them, right? 91 and 94th minute winners. Is that a real concern for you with Spurs at the moment, that the fitness doesn't seem to be there? And it might be based on the previous couple of managers that we have had. How quickly can Conte establish that and get that drilled into the players?
Well, it also hasn't helped that we've had major tournaments over the summer for South American players and the European players. But yeah, to go from what we had with Pochettino to where we are now is disgraceful. And we need to implement a culture now at this club, like a Liverpool or Manchester City, where you hear stories from Aguero when he moved to Barcelona. He said, when I was at Manchester City, an hour and a half before training, the gym was full. And I'm hearing the same stories out of Liverpool. You look at the fitness levels of Liverpool over the last few years under Klopp, they are relentless. And we need to create that culture at the club again. We had that under Pochettino. We did. Hearing some of the training methods he put the players through, he put them through hell. And fortunately for us, Conte is a manager in that mould. As I said, he's got 3 Italian sports fitness coaches with him. John Terry commenting on an Instagram post the other day saying, Harry Kane, get ready, be prepared to work hard. And then the jogging emoji. Says Fabregas, all of these ex-players who hate us, by the way, all lauding how good a manager Conte is, but the one thing they've all said is be prepared to go through suffering and pain. And he's spoken a lot about that, hasn't he? Suffering, pain. Indeed. There is no victory without suffering. Son, after the game today, said, we need to suffer. In order to win, we need to suffer. So all these little anecdotes and little catchphrases that Conte's already, he's been there a day or two, that he's already instilling in the team, I like the sound of. And we need to get it back, Rick. And we need that culture back at the club, because for this season particularly, and for periods under Jose, we have watched players strolling around the football pitch with no interest for one reason or another in putting the hard yards in. And as I said earlier, I'll say it again, this is a game of sprints football. If you cannot sprint at the highest level for 90 minutes, then you're not going to survive. And it's as simple as that.
Totally agree. We are going to go for our first break of the show. Taking you into this break, you're going to hear from Tottenham Hotspur's new head coach, Antonio Conte, who gives his thoughts and his breakdown to he's not actually, just to be clear, he's not having a breakdown just yet. He breaks down the one game he'd having a breakdown at Tottenham. And listen, to be fair, if you've seen the images already, you wouldn't blame him based on our defending tonight. But
I hope he's not on Cracker's train, that's for sure. We'll never hear from him.
No, so that defending, we're going to come on to that in a second. But you're going to hear from Antonio Conte, who, like I say, gives his thoughts, his analysis on Spurs getting over the line against Vitesse. For our watching audience on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. Nearly over 700 of you watching us live on an evening where you've seen Tottenham Hotspur secure 3 points. I say in that Group G that takes us above Vitesse. Rich, we're going to come round to you if we can in the car now until you make your way to the.
This is like planes, trains, and automobiles, isn't it? Eh?
Let's come round to Richard. Richard, I want to talk to you about Eric Dier, some of the player performances, because he started at the heart of that back three, but he would have felt that he should have done much better for Jacob Rasmussen's goal as he climbed above him from a corner. He remained strong at the back, like on with Spurs, hanging on against the, well, in the end, 9 men. Sorry, was it 10 men of Vitesse or 9 men? I think 9 in the end, wasn't it? 9.
Yeah, it was
nine
men.
It was 9 men. But ultimately, Rich, the question I want to ask you, Eric Dier taking huge amount of stick on social media. Is he going to be good enough under Conte? Do you think he'll get wound up very early on with Eric Dier's defending in general?
Well, you know, there you go, Rick. You've just said again, Eric Dier making a mistake. How many times do we say Eric Dier making a mistake, makes a mistake? It just seems to be in him. And I don't know whether Antonio Conte is going to be able to iron it out of him. But like I said to you before, with the set pieces, if he doesn't iron that out of him, he's gone. It's as simple as that, and that's just as ruthless as we need to be. And I don't know, Rick. Let's see. You know, Antonio Conte's going to expose a hell of a lot of truths with this squad, a real lot. Like I said to you last week, we are currently like a company that's like either going under or gone under, and Antonio Conte's coming in like a receiver, and he's going to thin out exactly what's going on and what's going wrong with this club. So let's see. I think he's going to give everybody a chance, isn't he? He'll give everybody that chance, and if they don't shape up, they ship out. Simple as that. And by the way, Rick, I'm about 10 minutes away, if that, from Wi-Fi. Okay, I'll be on Wi-Fi. I've had planes, trains, and automobiles today. And get this, just before you move on, when I was on the train from Northumberland Park to Harlow Town, 5 people came over to me and said, "I'm watching you on the pod at the moment." They're honestly 5 people watching it on the train. They were watching it, watching me, watching you, watching us. Mad.
Crackers, make sure you turn that camera off, though, when you have a wee up against the lamppost in a minute, won't you?
I tell you what, Joe, I love this show. I love this show.
Just quickly, Rick, just elaborating on the Eric Dier situation.
Please do.
Jason put a very valid point across earlier about Romero. And regardless, I didn't think the first one was a booking, but regardless, when you're on a booking, you don't tug someone's leg with your arms, otherwise you're going to get another booking. And he is a bit rash, and he probably does deserve criticism tonight. But I think the difference between Romero and Dier is Romero's a proven winner, as he proved in the summer. He's won individual awards in a league that's historically, revered for its defending and its defenders. And we see the potential there in Romero to get better and be one of the world's best. The problem with it, someone put it on the screen, the Eric Dier experiment. How many times? I mean, even when he does have a good game, I try to get behind Dier. I think he's got some fantastic attributes to be a good centre half. But as Crackers rightly said, there is just something in him which he cannot help it. The individual mistake, the individual error. He'll have a 10 out of 10 game for 89 minutes and then cost you a goal. And I don't know at this age, at the age he is now, I don't think that can be coached out of him because he's not a kid anymore.
Yeah, I love this comment. Look at the caps. No, Ricky, Dier is not good enough. He's just simply not good enough. I can hear the anger and frustration from this bloke's voice here, Paul, on the screen right now. He's feeling it right now. I do want to come on to Christian Romero because there's just so much about him in general at the moment because, listen, we know overall, if you lunge the way you lunge like that, it's going to be difficult. But I think, like we've said already, we do see the attributes in him to be a world-class defender. And I think it is all about, for me personally, trying to find the right pair that's going to work in general for him. Jace, thoughts on Romero?
It's not going to be a pair, is it? It's going to be a trio.
Sorry, you're right. So I must say it's going to be a back three. So just on that point, because you called it very early on when you saw, I think, Romero play in the first couple of games, you said you were concerned already by the lunge. And we're not sitting there saying for 1 minute he's a poor defender or whatever. He's going to be great. He's a fantastic addition, and we need him. Let's be honest, we need him to be good. So what's it going to take, Jace, to raise that bar to help him adjust to the league in a way we can get him to be playing every single week confidently?
Well, hopefully experience will help him. Hopefully, Conte or a good defensive coach will get into his ear. I mean, it's, there's diving in, but he's tending to do it right on the halfway line where you don't need to do it. But, it cost us to go against Villa, didn't he, when he dived in unnecessarily? I think Pacos, he dived in once or something, cost us out there. I mean, there's been other examples as well. I think in the home game against Pacos, he almost got himself sent off with a ridiculous foul on the halfway line. It just needs to learn. It's decision making, isn't it? It's getting the decision making right. It's getting that little bit of composure. It's defenders talking to him. It's instructions going into him. But he's young. He's got time to learn. But if you defend like that in the Premier League, that won't be his last sending off tonight. You can't do it. And like I say, there's no need to do it in some of the places he is. I mean, halfway line and sometimes in the opposition half, that's just daft, absolutely daft. So, it will need work on. But you're right. You can see in Romero that, I mean, what is he, 23?
Yeah, very young. And he's still like
28 or whatever.
Yeah. No, I agree with that.
In fairness, Davinson Sanchez, when he first came, was really rash and could dive into challenges and things. And all right, there's lots of things Davinson Sanchez still does wrong, but he doesn't dive in quite like he used to do anymore. So it will come with experience and better decision making.
Yeah, man, and like I say, Romero, you've got to remember, this guy was the Italian Defender of the Year last season. So we're certainly, like I say here, not ruling him out. We're not ruling him off. We know the quality's there. It is just going to take some time. And Rich, just to finish up on Romero, like we said there, that sending off has probably been coming more or less since his debut because it was pretty reckless. Again, booked for dragging a Pender to the deck on that halfway line, but he surged forward early on, teed up Son with a good chance, had a bit more to do towards the end of that first half with Vitesse coming more into the game before receiving his marching orders. Is it really for you, Rich, crucial that we do find the right partner for him, either in January or who we've got in the squad at the moment? Because I feel at the moment, Rodon's been very unlucky to not have got a chance so far. And I'm not sitting here saying that Rodon's going to be the next Maldini at all, by any chance of the imagination. But if you don't try it and you don't experiment, then how are we ever going to know the capability as to what he can do if you don't pair him next to someone of equal quality to him?
Yeah, I've said before, Rick, that Rodon's been very, very unlucky not to get a few chances, given the way our central pairings have been and some of the appalling shows we've had from them. The only problem you've then got is you've got Romero at 23 years old and Rodon, but I've got shoes older than him, and I think Romero's going to be the man. You're going to get madness from him, either tackles you don't quite know how he's made, or tackles you think to yourself, why have you done that like tonight? So there's a quality player in there. He needs an older, wiser head next to him, I think. And I don't know if that's Rodon at the moment. So I don't know, maybe in January, just somebody a little bit older, a little bit wiser, just to come in next to him. Perhaps we need to get Ledley back in again on the coaching staff and maybe just try and settle him down a little bit. But like Jason said, like you said, Rick, he's 23. He's had literally 10 minutes so far, for Spurs and the Premier League and everything. Let's see what happens with him. But you can see there's some absolute quality there with him. An older, wiser head next to him in January. But there's other players we need to get in first before we bring in a centre centre defender. We're absolutely crying out for a central midfielder before that, to be honest. But he needs time. He's got to settle. He does need to settle.
Yeah, totally agree on that.
Can I just interject there, just quickly?
Frank. Yeah,
I totally agree. I think that the answer to the problem, coaching aside, is getting an experienced, older, wiser centre-back in that back three next to him to tell him when to go and not when to go. He's not, with all due respect, he's been playing in defence with the likes of Dier, who we don't even know if he's an out-and-out centre-back, has been defensive midfield in the past. As you said, Joe Rodon's young. He hasn't got an experienced mix of high-end quality centre-backs easing him into the Premier League. He's almost doing it on his own. So I think if we do get another experienced centre-back in, which we've already been linked with 2 or 3, I think we'll see a better Romero.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Let's come on to a player that is one of our fans' favourite. I say that with sarcasm, by the way, before I get attacked in the comments, and that's Ben Davies. Let's come around to you, Jace. He was given a nod by Antonio Conte, but was perhaps very lucky early on to not consider penalty after clipping what I thought was a definite penalty for Nikolai Baden-Frederiksen. Should have really scored when he found himself in the Vitesse box for that third goal of the evening, but the ball went in anyway. As with Dier above, as we mentioned, remains strong to help see the game out, but overall... yeah, I'm not sure what Conte will be making of Ben Davies on the night. What do you think his thoughts were on Ben?
Well, as you say, I think he did get lucky with that first minute, or was it 4th or 5th minute? Because it was a penalty. He definitely clipped the bloke, clear as anything. And if they'd have had VAR, it would have been given, no doubt at all. But then it was nice to see him burst forward and get himself into the box. But we all know the problem with Ben Davies, don't we? I mean, there is nothing new to say about Ben Davies. We know his 1 or 2 strengths. We know his 15 weaknesses. And you call him 6 out of 10, and that's what it is. He's the professional. He's obviously the right temperament in the dressing room. He don't sulk when he's left out of the team, but I quite want a player to sulk when he's left out of the team. But there's nothing new to add about Ben Davies, and no. I'm sure going forward he'll have problems. But all I'll ever think about is if Antonio Conte can get Victor Moses to win 2 league titles, I wouldn't write anyone off at Tottenham yet.
No, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. Frank, want to discuss say Emerson and Royale if we can. He was in a more attacking role as a wing back this evening, made some very good runs as Spurs caused problems for their visitors. He had to focus on his defending after the break, but played a massive part in Marcus Schuckberg's red card after attempting to lob the goalkeeper. Are you seeing promising green shoots, Frank, for Emerson Royale? I feel like he's growing as a player in a Spurs shirt. What's your thoughts on him?
I've been quite positive about him. To be honest, to be fair to me from the start, I have, Rick. I thought he had a tough ask in the Palace game. Obviously, the way the game went, and being up against one of the most hardest one-on-one players to play against in the league, Wolf Zaha. And I think he's steadily growing into Spurs. He's had some solid performances. He's got an absolute engine on him. I like the fact that he's got that build, isn't he? That sort of light athletic build. What is he? 6 foot, 5'11", something like that. I think that defensively he looks sound. Obviously, he put a great cross in the Burnley game for the Lucas header, but I think that improvements will be made in his attacking part of his game. I think they need to be made as well. He's a little bit predictable at times, but I like him, and I think he's solid, and I think he can only get better. Looks like a good signing at this point. And with a coach like Conte, as Jay said, if he can make Victor Moses a wing-back, Premier League winning wing-back, from where he was and where he went to at Chelsea, then I'm sure he can do a job with Romero as well.
Yeah, that's a lot of comments on Emerson there. A lot of people impressed by him. Rich has come around to you.
Emerson, sorry, I said Romero. Emerson.
That's fine, Emerson. Don't worry, Frank. We know what you meant. We're all good. Let's come around to Richard, who again has changed location. This bloke's doing more changing room appearance I've ever seen in my life. We've had so many different scenes here. I don't know where we are with Rich at the moment. This is like an episode of I feel like we keep changing the channel with Richard. I tell you what, and he's back again. Do you know what I'm loving though? Like every beam is this massive beaming smile. This is fantastic. Rich, you literally, I think you've covered more ground tonight than Harry Winks. And we'll come on to Harry Winks. I know Jason will go mad at me for that. He thought Winks played well. We're going to come on to Winks. But Rich, Sergio Reguilón, he played more of an advanced role again today as a wing back. Didn't really get much joy in that final third. Dropped back to left back in that second half following that red card. Spent his time defending until pushed further forward upwards, followed by that triple substitution. Reguilón, will he be a star under Conte? Will he make him the player we've been waiting to see?
Well, I'll tell you, I watched Conte and Reguilón in that first half. And Conte, about 6, 7, 8, 9 times kept going to him. Get out, get out, get out, get on the touchline, hug the touchline, get forward, get forward. But Reguilon, it just felt like he was a bit like, but Nuno said, and Jose said, but Nuno says, and Jose said. He just like he wasn't brave enough tonight. I was even screaming at him in Spanish to be braver. Honestly, I was screaming at him. I was right close to him. I even told him in Spanish, Rick, be braver. And that's the problem. He was playing within himself a little bit. Royal as well on the other touchline. Conte was telling the pair of them, keep wide, keep up. But they kept, it's like muscle memory, Rick. This is the problem. He's had one training session with them and the first game tonight. Yeah. But because of what Jose's put into them, because of what Nuno's put into them, they can't get out the habit of doing what Jose and Nuno said. So this is all early times, but you could see Conte telling him, stay up and stay out, stay up, stay out. He kept telling him the whole game. He will do it. And when he does, he gives defences and opposition something to think about because he doesn't need to keep dropping back. He wants him out there. He wants him high and he wants him wide. Same as Royal. It will come. So, but it was really interesting to watch Conte keep telling him, don't cut in, keep out. So it will come. It's so early days. It really is. It's just going to be, it'll be really, really interesting to see where we are in by Christmas. And just if they start buying into him and start listening to him and just throw off the shackles of the previous two managers.
Yeah, no, I agree with those points. I certainly do. Let's come on to, like I say, those changes that we saw. We saw Winks, Sanchez and Dombele coming off for Spurs. On comes Son, Moura, Skip. Vitesse Island went down to 10 men as Daniel Doki was sent off for wrestling with Kane. Kane, like I say, turned him, forced him down for a second yellow card. And then we saw Vitesse subsequently go down to 9 men. As we said, Marcus Schubert sent off after handing well outside his box. Brilliant pass from Winks through to actually create that opening. Hugo Lloris, we must mention, he started his first European match of the season, but had little to do until a superb stop to deny Sondre Tronstad from distance, then did likewise not long after the break as he pulled off fine saves to frustrate Lewis and Penda and Richelli Bazawa. Not much you could have done about the Vitesse goals, however, but again, Lloris proving his worth in that game. Some real decent saves from him. Pierre-Emile Hobbii played his part in the opener with some strong play in midfield, carried on putting himself during his time on the pitch. Skip, let's discuss Skip for a second. Let's come to you, Jace, because you know what, actually, I must do the right thing. And we've actually questioned Hobbii that I should actually answer before we do the Skip. Let's go to you on this question, Jace. This is from, let's find it here. This is from, now we've got to find the question. We are going to find the question on Hobbii. This is from Anders Lindstrom, who says, am I the only one to think that Hobbii is massively overrated? And if you, he says if you could strengthen in January, which players would you look to maybe bring in to as an alternative to Hobbii? Is that harsh on him, Jace, or is that fair on Hobbii from what you've seen over the course of the last few games?
No, he's not playing as well this season as he was last, that's for sure. There's mistakes creeping into his game, but I wouldn't say he's massively overrated because I've never thought he was a world-class player in the first place. So depends what level you think he's at, doesn't he? I think he's a decent, you know that from when we've signed him, I've always thought he's a decent Premier League player. No more, no less than that. And he probably shouldn't be playing every single game. We felt that last year playing every single game, took its toll on him. And again, he's another player that just needs the right kind of person alongside him, isn't it? But he's definitely not hasn't played as well as he did last year. But if somebody thinks he's world class, then he's definitely overrated.
Yeah. Let's come on to
just quickly. He's got limitations on the ball. We all know that, and that's his biggest weakness. And tonight his passing was awful, being honest. Yeah.
Frank, sticking with you, let's discuss Oliver Skip. Again, far from his best game he had against Man United last Saturday, but he was better in the middle of the park versus Vitesse, subbed off towards the end of the game. I've seen a question on the screen there. I think it was, we saw, I will pick it up again on the screen. It was from Naj, who said, is there a way in which the system does work for both Skip and Hobbii. I think he says you can only have just the one of them in there for him. Do you agree with on that long term? Do you think it can only be one of the two if we are going to move forward under Conte with these midfielders in his plans?
Yes, because the two between them are not dynamic enough. They're not brave enough on the ball. They haven't got enough quality on the ball to split defences. And I know primarily with that three, the shape that he has sort of two in front of the block of three and pushes the wing backs on, you're still going to need more from a passing viewpoint from those two in midfield. I don't think Skip was awful tonight. I just think he's a young player. He's going to be up and down. We need to be easing him into Spurs. He's found himself starting every game because we're very short of quality in the centre of midfield. So I think it would be harsh to sort of judge him on performances like tonight. Because we've got to expect from Skip, he's going to be a bit up and down until he's sort of early 20s, really. So I don't want to be critical of Ollie Skip. I think for his, I know it's not his debut seasons for Spurs. He broke through under Poch. But I think for a kid playing for his boyhood club that's come into a bit of a mess, really, in his first full season, I think he's carried himself well, although he wasn't great tonight.
Yeah, I think what you have to also bear in mind with Oliver Skip is we know they're not as a dynamic pairing. But as soon as you take one out and you put, be it Dele, be it Ndombele, be it Lo Celso, be it Winks in there, we are so vulnerable then through that gap. So, you know, you've got to look at it. There is a reason, despite not being dynamic, that's our best pairing at the moment. And
we're so much more exposed without them.
Absolutely.
Totally. And that's where we need, probably over a centre-back, if you sort of held a gun to my head, what's the first position we need to sign in January? It's a centre midfielder for me.
Yeah.
That's fair. Let's come on to, guys, conscious of time. We've got to fit in a shit quiz as well. I must put that in there. We're going to be handing the reins over to Richard Cracknell, who has, like I say, landed safely in a property where will not be known, will not be named, but he is in a safe and sound location. We can confirm off all vehicles on public transport. He is, like I say, in a safe and sound place. Let's actually go to you, Rich, to discuss Harry Kane, because he looked more like his old self. Registered an assist after some great forward play to slip in Lucas, and was unlucky not to prod the ball home for the third. Barely had a sniff on the go after the break as he was playing up front, more on his own due to Romero's red card. But did you see more of the likings of Kane that you would normally see as you watched him up close and personal?
Well, Harry Kane's always said, if Tottenham Hotspur match my ambitions, I'll be happy. So we've now given him Antonio Conte as a manager. Reports are saying that he's really happy with that and he wants to work under him. He seemed to be very happy under Jose. He likes that type of manager. He wants a manager that's not only going to push him, but push the team that he's in. So, yeah, he looked like he fancied it again tonight. And, you know, like you can't really judge him. Like I said before on the show, on previous shows, we can't judge anybody under Nuno because he just wasn't getting the best out of the team. So now it's a chance to shine and a chance to see if he does fancy it or whether he's playing within himself and he's still like not very happy because he didn't go. It's a little bit like the point we was making before with Højbjerg and Skip. I think as Spurs fans, we thought to ourselves, oh, Højbjerg's fantastic, but he may not be as fantastic a footballer as we think he is. It's just because we were so lily-livered as a team, as soon as somebody comes in that actually plays with a bit of passion and a bit of heart and a bit of soul, you kind of think to yourself, that's what we want. But that doesn't make you a great footballer as such. Technically, it makes you a great club person and it makes you what you want to see as a fan. But that may go to mask a little bit of your footballing inabilities. So now with Harry, we just want to see him be happy, be trying, and we'll see now. As I said to you, it's an audit on everybody. Conte acts as an audit on everything and everybody in that team. And we'll see now who's got it in the locker and who hasn't. I think it's going to be great for us as fans. It's going to be great for the club. He's coming in and he's just going to come and weights and measures everything.
And I think Crackers is right on Højbjerg, and I can compare it almost to Wilson Palacios when we signed him. When you first sign a player, you see all the good things they bring to the team that you've not had in the team.
Amen.
So you look at that. But then after 30, 40, 50 games, you start to think, right, I know he can do that. What more can he do? And then you start to see the weaknesses in the game. And it will happen with Skippy. It's happened with Tanganga and things like that. You know, Tanganga's debut, he's going to be a top class defender. And here we are 2 years later, and it hasn't quite happened for Tanganga. And this is the problem with a lot of them.
No, I agree. Just to finish up on these players before, like I say, we got to squeeze in a shit quiz, and like I say, Jason has told us this has to finish by midnight. It has to finish midnight. You can hear him there. You heard him there. Harry Winks back on the pitch as he came on to help see out the game with 18 minutes to go. To Jason's delight, played a very good ball over the top that culminated with Marcus Schubert seeing red. It was actually a really good cameo from Winks. And, you know, we're not scared on this show to say when the players had a good game. And Davies Sanchez, another that came on, helped to see that the game. He did just that. And Ndombele limited time to make an impact, but did produce some brilliance to tee up Giovanni Lo Celso, which Jason, I'm sure, would say it was worth the admission fee alone. Lo Celso on for the final 4 minutes and unlucky not to score. After the game, Antonio Conte, speaking to the press, said, crazy game. You know me. I don't like this kind of crazy game, but for sure my players have shown great commitment, resilience, because I think this team needed to win, suffering, and it was important that we did today. He went on to say, I want to repay the trust that the club has shown in me. He adds that we need to be patient. We have a lot of space for improvement. We need time to work, he says, in terms of the international break coming up, tactical and physical aspects to get to know them much better than now. And like I say, he refers to the players there. So do you know what? A win's the most important thing for Tottenham, because you look at that group now, we are in a bit more of a stronger position. And ultimately, we do want to see Spurs win trophies. We are, like I say, in all 4 competitions, still going strong. We're only a couple of points off the Premier League table in terms of that top 4. And before we do go there, let's finish with a couple of listener questions. Guys, we're going to make these very, very quick if we can, the answers, because we've got to fit in Everton and we've got to fit in this shit quiz as well. I feel really weird saying shit quizzes. I'm a copyright label there on that, for God's sake. I'm going to get sued by Richard in the morning for even saying it, let alone talking it. Okay, first one up.
Frank looks so happy to be doing this quiz.
Do you know what? I haven't done one of these for years, Crackers.
Delighted. Look at that face.
Studio days, mate.
I tell you.
The old pod.
Let's start with you, Frank. We're going to keep our answers very brief on this. Frank, this is from Andrew Charman, who says, does Mason need to learn Italian as he's just a token appointment? And like I said, that's on the back of the news that he's actually given, we understand, Ryan Mason a first-team coaching role. And that's based on the fact that he felt in the days leading up to his appointment and working around him for the last couple of days that he's been impressed by him. Surely the other coaches aren't going to speak English all the time for him. Do you understand that appointment for you, Frank? Do you back that appointment as being one of our own there, Ryan Mason?
No, I quite like it, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm looking at it tonight, there was a clip, I'm not sure if you saw it, where he was in full discussion with the rest of the staff whilst Conte was out on the touchline. And they looked like they were communicating all right. But listen, Ryan Mason, he's very much a Spurs man. He's worked with some incredible managers now. So he's getting his experience. And I think you need that link to the players. You can't have just all the Italians and then all the players. You need that bridge. And I think he'll be sort of the guy that can communicate with the players, then back to the management staff. Yeah. He'll get experience and fair play to him. Good luck to Ryan Mason.
Yeah.
I've got nothing. I mean, you'll see some on Twitter. Oh, what's he doing there? I hope the club haven't forced Mason on Conte. They haven't. Don't be stupid. If Conte didn't want him there, he wouldn't be there. Come on.
Yeah.
So he obviously likes what he's seen, and good luck to Ryan Mason. I hope he progresses with his coaching and gets better and better.
I totally agree with that. Nice words there, Frank, from Frank to Ryan Mason there. Jason's come around to you. This is a very good question, this one. This is from Corey Alban, who says, it's early days, only one game, but Conte saw the best and the worst in Spurs in the space of 90 minutes there. Which players will already be in his thinking, and which players do you think will be hoping to replace, either with others in the squad or with new signings? Very quick, Jason, a minute on that or two. Very early days. Can you give an answer at this stage?
You can't, because we don't know what his thinking is. You know, the natural thing is to say all the ones that we don't like and all the ones that we do like. But like I say, there will be a couple of bits of deadwood in there that will become big players under Conte, and there'll be a couple of people that we all like that will become deadwood under Conte. Simple as that.
That is a joke, but I love that one on the screen there. Grill has no name, sack Conte, get Mourinho. I think it's just a one-up to Jason.
This clown's been on all night, hasn't he, with ridiculous... He's obviously not a Spurs fan, so why the hell is he watching us?
No idea. The amount of rival fans we get watching us.
Exactly.
Look at Richard's reaction.
That's how big a club we are, mate.
I love it.
Surely got something better to do with your evenings than listen to a rival club's podcast.
You'd be surprised. You would be surprised. Right, we are going to go for our final break of the show. For our listeners on audio, taking you into this break, you're going to hear from a couple of Everton podcasters that have kindly given up their time to preview this game. And like I say, we're going to be discussing that after this break. For our watching audience live on YouTube, there's nearly over 700 of you watching us. We're going to go into that right now. We're going to do 5 minutes on Everton and then hand the reins over to Richard Cracknell. God, we're excited for Rich. Rich, let's start with you on Everton because it is going to be a game which sees Antonio Conte have a chance to get off to a winning start as a Premier League manager at Tottenham Hotspur, and he'll fancy his chances against an Everton side whose form have taken an absolute nosedive since a promising start to the season. As we know, Everton away for Spurs, it's actually been one of our happier hunting grounds over the course of the last, 15, 20 years. How do you see, Rich, him approaching that game against Everton? Do you expect a number of those players that played tonight to feature and start in that game?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think it'll be a much different team to what started tonight. And I think Antonio Conte is the type of manager who will say all the right things in the press conferences and be quite respectful. And then when he gets into the dressing room, I think he'll be telling them players, this is a team low on confidence, who look a bit bobbins at the moment, to be honest. Get out there, listen to what I tell you, know your role, know your job, and go and be brave. Go and take the game to them, and you win. It's as simple as that. And I think if we go and play the way that Antonio wants us to, we win that game, Rick. It's as simple as that. It's time now to start putting our stamp and marker down with this manager. And as I said, do as he says, employ the right tactics, get on the front foot, and then we go and get the win, because Everton just look absolutely all over the place at the moment. They look worse than us or what we did, how we did look. So just go and get in their faces. Go and take the game to them, and we win that. And I think we win it comfortably as well if we're brave, if we play the Antonio Conte way, and if players fancy it. And want to go and take it to them. So yeah, I could see us quite easily winning that by 2 or 3 goals if we go and take it to them.
What's your prediction then, Rich? Let's go to your predictions so we can fit in this shit quiz. What are you going for?
I'm going 2-0 Spurs.
2-0 Spurs, I love it. A clean sheet and a winning start for Antonio Conte. According to Senor Crackers over there, you're going to hear more from his dulcet tones in a matter of minutes as we hand over back to the headquarters of the man who is in the UK, fresh, trimmed. Look at that face, beaming he is. I tell you, we love him in the UK over here. We're looking forward to seeing him very soon. Look at that, a fresh cut there. It's a 2 on the side, that's a 1 on the top, and that's a beaming smile that we absolutely love. Jason, hand back over to you. A 2-1 loss to Wolves actually sees Everton now making it 3 defeats in a row under Benitez, who desperately needs to win to get disgruntled fans back on side. Jason, how do you think Spurs will approach this game? Because there is now, I think, with Everton, an expectancy under Benitez because they weren't massively keen on his appointment in the first place. Therefore, to go on this run they're on now, the fans are only going to be even more frustrated. So how do we go up there and give us your prediction overall for that one?
They were really poor at Wolves as well. Really poor. They've just got done by 5 by Watford. I think with Rafa Benitez, I like my manager to exploit the weaknesses, find the gaps in the weaknesses and exploit them. And I think Rafa's one of those managers whose first thought is, how do I nullify the opposition? And so I think he'll look at Tottenham and he'll think, we must stop Son, we must stop Kane, we must stop this, we must stop, rather than trying to look at Tottenham and think, I can get at them. So I think they'll sit back, which will suit us. And I think we go there and win the game, like Cracker said. Whether we can keep a clean sheet, I'm not sure, but I think we go there and win it by 2-1.
Okay, fantastic. It's come around to you, Frank, to wrap up the predictions. Everton have the edge on Spurs last season. They've gone unbeaten in all 3 games. They ground out a 1-0 win in London and then a 5-4 thrilling FA Cup win, which I don't think for us was that thrilling. We got beat, of course. before, like I say, a 2-2 draw back on Merseyside. But Spurs' recent record at Goodison is actually pretty decent, with a memorable 6-2 win there in 2018, following up with a triumphant 3-0 win just a year earlier. Richarlison's return to fitness is a big boost for Everton, as the Brazilian was sorely missed during his time on the sidelines. All eyes will be obviously on Conte. It's his first game back in the Premier League. Frank, how do you see this going, prediction-wise?
Well, I'm actually up there I've never been to Goodison Park, which is crazy because I've been to so many away grounds, and I needed to tick it off the list, so I'm going to the game. But with the form that they're in,
you ain't got a spare ticket, have you, Frank?
No, well, I've been asked by everyone now. Everyone wants to know again, didn't they? But
I can't believe it. Touted on the Last Word On Spurs. Can I just say, anyone liable for suing? Not Last Word On Spurs content. Please indulge yourself to Mr. Richard Cracknell, and we'll disclaimer. Put that below.
but no, getting on to the game, I think if we can't go up there, the lack of form they're in without the Corey and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who are huge players for them, particularly the way the Corey started the season, we can't get a result there with this new manager bounce, then I'll be gutted. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet. My predictions are always shocking, to be honest with you. They're all over the place with Spurs. But I think we'll get the win. I can just see us conceding. 3-1, I'd like to see. But don't get it twisted. This is a weak Everton side at the moment with the injuries. Yeah. And I expect us to put in a performance at least with Conte now at the helm. And 2-3-1. That's my prediction.
And just somebody, have a word with Romero and tell him what a cheat Richarlison is. Yes. Because Richarlison spends most of the game on making meals out of anything.
He will try and get you sent off.
He will, exactly. And Benitez will say, suck him in, and as soon as there's any touch, down you go. So you just need to have a little bit of a word with him and just calm him down. Yeah.
So Frank, get some real love in the comments here. Frank, he's the new Eric Hall monster. There you go.
Do you remember him, the little agent with a cigar, wasn't he? Yeah. What horrible little man he was. Don't call me Eric Hall.
maybe for the analysis rather than looking, I tell you.
I've had Danny. What else have I had? I've had Danny Murphy. Now Eric Hall.
We'll get some more looky likeys for Frank coming in the comments, please, in the next 10 minutes. What I'm going to do, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to hand over to our wonderful Mr. Richard Cracknell, who's going to take us through the next 10 minutes. Now, a lot of you watching this don't have a clue what's coming.
9 minutes.
9 minutes, and I'm still talking. Rich, you got 9 minutes. Take it away. It's the shit quiz.
Thank you very much. And you know, once Eric Hall was asked, Eric, is it true that you take 20% of your players' wages as an agent fee? And he said, no, they take 80% of mine. That was Eric Hall for you. So, poor old Frank getting compared to Eric. All right, thank you very much. 8 minutes, I'll get it done. Don't worry. Okay. Live and direct from Costa del Harlow. I've travelled 2,000 miles today, 4 hours. Been up since about 5 a.m. this morning. But there's always time for a bit of a quiz. Now, I put a little vote out on Twitter yesterday, and the people have spoken. You had a choice of 2 quizzes and 1,500 votes, and winning by 65% was this evening's quiz, which is called Continuity. All right, you see what I've done there, Jace? Do you like that?
Yeah,
Continuity.
Go on.
Okay.
Love it.
All right. Okay. Right. Okay. So I'm going to give you a Spurs manager. Okay. You have to tell me who the manager before was and the manager after him. And I've included caretakers in this as well. All right. Okay. Caretakers as well. Now, when I give you the manager, you got to call your name out. You get a guess. If you don't get it, you're out. Okay. Because I know Jace will run away with this otherwise. Yeah. Right. So think carefully before you call your name out.
So just repeat that one more time, Rich. You're going to name a manager. Just to confirm, you want to name a manager. You want the guy before him and after him, correct?
Exactly. I.e., continuity. Continuity. You see what I've done here? I
love it.
Don't write itself, you know.
I love it.
All right.
I'll tell you.
Okay. So here we go. You've got 5 of them. Tell me the manager before and the manager after. Number 1.
Can you give me one? I need to get a pen. One second. Hold on.
Right,
crack on. Richard will kill us.
Right. Jacques Santini. Who was the manager before? Who was the manager after?
Martin Yole was after.
Okay.
David Pleat.
You got to get both. Who?
Hoddle.
Was it Pleat? Or Hoddle?
Yeah.
I would have said Hoddle.
Pleat was before. Yeah.
Pleat, Santini, Yole. So you sort of kind of got it between you. Okay. Got to call your name out. And you got to give me both.
Sorry, boss. Sorry, boss.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. This is a serious quiz, you know. I'm not doing this for no reason. All right. With 5 minutes still to go and 4 questions left, Jace, you'll be off before midnight because I know you turn into a pumpkin. Okay. Here's your next manager. One before and the one after, please. Terry Neal. Terry Neal, the one before and the one after. Go.
Bill Nick, Keith Birkinshaw.
Yes. He's smashing this quiz. Rick, come on, you keep smashing this quiz.
I'll be here all night. I mean, on that one, I'll be here all night. You can come back to next week's show. If you want for the answers, I still might have to find them.
I've tried to keep it quite modern. In fact, it was too easy in the old days because we didn't sack managers every 3 minutes. So I've kept it quite modern.
Appreciate
it. All right. Question number 3. Your manager is Juan de Ramos. The one before and the one after, please.
Frank.
Juan de Ramos. Including, yes, go on, Frank.
Right, so Juan de Ramos was succeeded by Harry Redknapp. Oh, you want the caretaker who took charge?
I'm including... Yes.
Ooh.
Before and after.
I think 49 goals, Frank.
I'll give you a little...
I
will give you a little clue. Yes, and...
I think 49 goals again.
Aren't they the same caretakers?
Look.
Caretakers. I'm not good.
Go on, Jace.
With Alex Inglethorpe.
Yes. He's
before and after.
How many
before
games?
And after.
It's like one game or something, wasn't it?
Because
one game either side.
That is great answer, Jace. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
His knowledge is ridiculous.
Clive Allen, Alex Inglethorpe, the game before Juan de Ramos
officially did the
and
Bolton
the game after.
Bolton game, you're right, the Bolton game.
They did. Oh, man,
and then, before Harry took over, unbelievable, Jace. Unbelievable.
I think Harry was there, wasn't he? Harry was actually in the stands, but Alan was in charge of whatever.
He was.
Yeah. Go on.
Oh, man. He's on fire with this, isn't he, Rick? Okay. Number 4.
The next one. He's banned for the next one.
And the manager after, with continuity, Tim Sherwood. Mr. Gillet, Tim Sherwood. The one before and the one after.
Well, that's easy, Rick. Rick, come on. You've got
Frank.
Oh, no, Frank's buzzing. Go on, Frank.
AVB and Pochettino.
I smashed it. Absolutely smashed it. Well done. Right, Rick, I'm giving this one to you. I think you're staying rather quiet now, but so you're the host of this, okay?
Just about. I want to be after
this. Number 5 on continuity. Glenn Hoddle, the one before and the one after.
One before Glenn Hoddle.
Caretaker.
Chris Hughton.
No. Jace knows, didn't you? Jace, you know, didn't you?
I'm thinking of car parks, mate.
Pleaty. Do you know what? I mean, isn't it Pleaty twice? It's Pleaty twice, isn't it? Pleaty twice.
It is.
Before and after. Yeah, Pleaty twice. Yeah.
Double pleat. Oh, imagine that, a double pleating. Pleat and pleat. Well done. I told you I'd keep it short and sweet. Well done, Jace. Look, 23:59. You're out of the woods.
Amazing. Guys, listen, thank you so much. Rich, thank you so much for that quiz. I must say, Rich, you know what? When you told me where it is, very quickly, we are going to finish now, but Rich, will you just tell people where you devised that quiz? Because in the world of the 21st century, I thought it was quick what you said to me. We're on a bit of paper, and that paper's come all the way from Spain into England in that back pocket.
Yes, it has. Yeah, I think of a title for a shit quiz, and then I work backwards. So that's how I work it. I did have Pasta La Vista as well, all written out. But the people have spoken,
give us one question.
And then
Go
went
on,
with
practice.
Conte.
Crackers, give us one Pasta La Vista question. Come on.
Pasta La Vista, because Spurs announced Conte in Spanish, couldn't even get that right. Never stop being Spurs. I was gonna do Italian dishes or Spanish dishes. So I was gonna give you obscure dishes that are either Italian or Spanish, and you had to tell me which ones they were. But do you know what? Because the vote came in yesterday, I didn't even bother writing it out. I'll keep it for another day.
Guys, let me just say, look at this. Oh, look, Jason. And now look at sorry. Oh, look, Jason has time now. Shit quiz isn't so shit, is it, when you win? There you go. Always the way. We'll leave on that. So, Jason, thank you so much as always. Lovely to have you on. We'll be back on with us very, very soon. To Frankie Major, our new signing.
One thing. It's the first night I've enjoyed the checker trade.
I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I'm loving the checker trade.
Hallelujah.
Under Conte as well. Under Conte as well. To the wonderful Frankie Major, our new signing. Frankie, thank you so much. You're back with us on very, very soon.
Yeah, I've got a few shows lined up, so looking forward to being back, and hopefully more positivity. You know, it's easy to do these pods when things are looking upwards rather than downwards.
Totally agree, mate. Safe travels to Goodison. Like I say, I know you'll be up there with the faithful, singing us proud, hopefully bringing 3 points home. And to our shit quiz king, the master of many trades, back in the UK, thankfully with us. We'll be seeing him very, very soon. Richard Cracknell, thank you as always.
Thank you, Rick. Yeah, and you know what? I'd come on this show from Lanzarote where the internet runs on a dynamo and never misses a beat. And I come to the 5th richest economy in the world, and I couldn't even get in touch with you for the first half hour of it. But thanks for sticking with it. And I've had a terrific day, as they say, on Bullseye and Jim Bowen. Thank you very much.
And on that note, over and out. To our listeners, thank you so much as always. Keep safe, keep well. We are back with you after Everton at the weekend. And it's going to end on like this. Come on.